crazy. He is already talking crazy. Y'all heard that? That's Mari talking crazy. Already. I ain't even did nothing yet. Oh, hi, family. Okay. Get your life, Circa. Where's my glasses? Listen, that food was so good and it puts me to sleep every time. I don't even think I watched 10 minutes of TV once I got in that bed. It's ridiculous. I be sleep, y'all. Sleepity, sleep, sleep, sleep. I do. Sleep is good. It's good for me anyway. Good evening. I told you I think we on the night shift. I'm working the night shift. On the night shift. Listen, I'm pulling out close to give away. Feels good to bless someone with tags still on it. Ooh, don't it, girl? Yes, I know the feeling. That make me happy to hear that now. Hold on. I'm proud of you, Pumpkin. Yeah. To see somebody else smile, to have something brand new, that is one of the most amazing feelings ever. I promise it is. It is. It's one of the most amazing feelings ever. Hey, y'all. Yeah. Girl, that make me smile. I know. Yes, honey. First day of school. Okay. All right. That part. My grandson got about a year and a half, probably. Because he about to be 3, so they can start in, well, I don't know if they still let them do it, but my kids could start kindergarten at 4. So he got about a year and a half, so TikTok shop been blessing me, so I want to bless somebody else. That. People don't even understand. When they get more, they think more for me. Do y'all see that that is not where it's at? I was just saying I needed work clothes, then I started. Bam, coupon free. Come on. Come on. I don't know if he can go to preschool where he's at right now. I don't know. He probably could. His mama ain't gonna do it. She loves his daycare, but I'm just saying I know in like a year he'll be in school. Thank you, Angie. I know in like a year he'll be in school. He getting so big too. That's nuts. He's big. He's a big boy. Hi, granny son. That's what he says to me. I'm not your granny. You're my granny son. I'm your granny. But he says, Mom, granny son. You want to call your grandma? Okay. He said, yeah, granny son. That is hilarious to me. He makes my heart smile. They all do. They be. Anyway, I'm just chilling, y'all. I don't know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be honest with y'all. My meds is real, real good right now. So, there's that. I'm going to make me some coffee here in a minute. Matter of fact, I need some right now. Yeah. They right where they need to be. I'm going to tell you. It was a new prescription. And, ooh, wait, you heard me? Let me go get me some coffee. I'll be right back. Yeah. Yeah, they fine-tuned it and they done figured it out. Look at God. Alright. Sorry, y'all. I had to make me some coffee. Put some water in my filter thing. I need to change those filters out too. Sorry, y'all. Alright. Listen, baby. Anyway, moving on. I found the right one. This is the thing. So, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna just leave it. I be needing to relax, y'all. And sometimes, yeah, I had to get some a little bit. Listen, you said soon as I get home. That part, because, oh, you got to get with some of our people. So, Queen, I'm going to show you something. You just hold that dog. I got something for you. There are some things that people in our community have put together for stress relief. There's some sugar for your coffee that Auntie K makes. There's some sugar for your coffee or for your tea, the stress reliever. And then Auntie K makes some blue agave for your tea. Okay, Auntie K makes that. And then you got some spray for your breath here that tastes like Jolly Ranchers. Nettie's Necessities. And so that way you don't have to go into work smelling like perfume. You could keep this in your purse. And then there's seasoning salt that you could sprinkle on your chicken. You can sprinkle it on your salad. You can sprinkle it on your fries, your rice. It's a real good seasoning. It's a real good seasoning. So, there's people that have made sure that, all your food, your tea will be sweet and your food will be seasoned, girl. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right. I promise. Hold on. So, a lot of that is in my survival bag. That's in the survival bag for when, you know what I'm saying? It's real crazy. I got to have my seasonings and stuff. Yes, it's a real thing, honey. We got some people here that have thought about everything you need, and they've taken care of your needs, honey. Hey, Anzu, I could not do this. I could do it, but it makes working easier. If you have all the seasonings you need and a good spray to get you rejuvenated, and it's like a vitamin spray, and then, excuse me, you never know when you're going to have backaches or whatnot, and so you just use. The Bible says that he made all herbs good for your consumption, for salves and whatnot. That's what the words say, don't it? Please share what? Nettie's Necessities on Instagram. And please help me remember Auntie K's thing. What's Auntie K's thing, y'all? I forget. Lord Jesus, it's been a long time. What is Auntie K's thing? Y'all, what's Auntie K's thing, y'all? I got the cream right here, about to rub it on this hip. But I'm trying to, baby, listen. This right here, nigga, gets me, because yeah. But since I've been using that stretchy thing, guess what? Gifted by Karen. That's the other one. Thank you. I could not remember. I'm sorry, Pumpkin. Thank you. Gifted by Karen. So, since I've been using that stretchy thing for my back, y'all, like, my sleep has been a lot better. Hot and fresh off the presses. Mama rolling that body. Got every minute here with it. Mari, if I was just not playing all of my early 2000s R&B, get out of my business. Get out of my business. You get out of my business. Let me tell you this last playlist. 1-2 Step by Missy Elliott. This is why I was in the tub. Share My World, Breakdown, Crazy Bone. Let's Get Married by Jagged Edge. You Make Me Wanna, Blame It on the... Rock With You, Ashanti. Ignition. She Got Her Own. Run It by Jewel Santana and Chris Brown. Are You That Somebody, Aaliyah. Don't Leave Me, Blackstreet. Without Me, Kelly Rowland. Put It On Me by Little Mo and Vita. Me and You, Cassie So Anxious. Do Wop That Thing, Lauryn Hill, My Boo. Where the Party At, featuring Nelly. Listen here. No Scrubs, Players Prayer, Say My Name, My Boo, This How We Do It, Montel Jordan, That Boy Is Mine by Monica, Buy You a Drink, All I Have by LL Cool J and Jennifer Lopez, Bad Girl, So Sick, Torn, LaToya, Up Falling. You said what now? You Remind Me? Swing My Way, Wobble, and Sexy Can I by Ray J. And then I got out the sub. So you just gonna be in my business? That's what you're gonna do? I can't do nothing by myself. There is absolutely nothing I can do by myself. Listen, can I take a bath by myself and after you? Now you knocking at the door talking about, can you have a cookie? Wait till I get out the tub. You acting like your cousin. Beating on the door talking about she need to come in here and get her stuff. And she is just wanting to be messing with me because the bathroom been open. Goodness gracious. Oh, I guess my family members is here. Mm-hmm. Seem like don't nobody want to go in the bathroom till you go in the bathroom. Now everybody got to pee. Everybody forgot they something in the bathroom while you in there. No, I've been looking at this bathroom door for an hour, waiting on somebody to go in there. Ain't nobody went in there, and as soon as I get in there, now folks want to come knock on the door. I get it. I understand. Can't even listen to music now. Oh, jeez. Anyway, I really didn't want nothing. I got up and I was like, maybe we should read. I don't really know just yet. I don't have anything in mind. But I'm sure within the next 10 minutes or so, it'll come to me, which is pretty cool. You know, it don't always got to be scripted. It's fine. I think I really like the think tanks we've been having for the last couple of evenings. Just having random conversation about real life issues. I think those classes have been very valuable. Even to the people that are not part of our community, a part of our community, and they sneaking in to listen. it be what they need. You know what I mean? So one of the things that I'm grateful for everybody that is a part of WOIU is that you all share your experiences. This could not be that if you didn't do that. Y'all do y'all part. Thank you, Miss Judy. Y'all do y'all part. You hear me? We would not be able to be a successful space if you all didn't do your part too. Y'all have to share y'all ugly here too. And by us sharing our ugly, it has turned into a beautiful space for a lot of people. Remember, I be talking about fertilizing your next space? We talk about that often. Fertilizing the bad that you went through is going to grow something else in somebody's life, and that's important to me. You hear me? Just like Jazz said, going through her closet, getting out stuff that's brand new. You're going to give some new stuff to somebody that might not have had anything with tags on it in a minute. Not new. You know what I mean? Making sure that you are doing your part to help your fellow man. And it makes you feel better. You know? For when you work on you and you realize that you can help other people work on them, not be aggressive, not be overbearing. Small, simple, kind gestures help people change. Hearing I love you has helped a lot of people change. You hear me? I don't know how many people when we first started this never heard I love you from nobody. You hear me? Some people do not hear I love you all the time. But now, not only do they hear it, they can feel it. A sense of community. Most people feel like they don't belong anywhere. They don't fit in anywhere. God has healed a number of emotional ailments, I think, with this community. And that makes me excited. It makes me happy. It makes me feel fulfilled in my life to know that there are people all around the world that come here every day or every couple of days or every couple of months. And every time that they come in, they hear what they needed to hear. And it lets them know they can go a little bit further in whatever situation they're going in. You know what I mean? That makes me, whether it's me talking about it or one of y'all seeing something that y'all go through, and maybe they never say anything in our class about it. But people get fed here, and that makes me excited. People learn, people grow. They definitely learn manners if they don't learn nothing else. And manners help your life. So if that's the only seed you came over here and got, it was better than nothing. Some people learn to listen here. Some people learned that they was jerks, they was messy, realized they was keeping themselves irritated because they was always in the middle of something that they shouldn't have been in, and now they got peace because they ain't messy no more. In real life. Some people learned they were whores and whoremongers. And now they not whores and whoremongers no more. That is a valid life point, a very valuable one at that. I mean, some people didn't know they was stealing. They didn't know they was a thief by stealing time. Like, people didn't realize a lot about themselves since they've been here at this WOIU, honey. In real life. Yeah, you hit me while I was driving, watching a rewatch when you said make sure you're doing good. You're doing good for God and not trying to be good for people to see you being good. That chopped my throat. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Listen, it be a real thing. But y'all don't get hit with nothing I didn't. I ain't about to be the only one getting chopped in the throat. I had to take it by myself. At least y'all get to get it in a group. I'm not going to keep talking about it. I had to take all my throat chops by myself. Maybe every once in a while he let somebody be around. I was just crying ugly tears by myself. Y'all get to bundle up and cry together. Y'all get to get chopped in the throat in a row like this so y'all can all console each other. It was just me. I'm trying to tell you, so at least y'all can talk to each other about it. I used to just be talking to my journal. Shoot, I got chopped in the throat too. That's how I can do it. Trying to tell you. That's why when do y'all believe God is fluffy? I'm gonna ask that all the time. Tell me he don't get you right with whatever it is that he wants you to know. It'll hit you instantly. You'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't even have time to process the whole thought. If I was gonna do it or not. If I was gonna say it or not. He will make you stub your toe in the middle of the thought. A little pain before you cause a lot. You hear me? A little pain before you cause a lot of pain in real life. Because your actions, you said chop this screw. Listen, yep. Hit your elbow, jam your finger in the car. You be like, ow. He be like, don't do it. Don't you do it. Yes, because that was one of them moments to make you go, yeah. These are the people that get mad about doing stuff for people. Like, if you don't respond the way they want you to, like you just so grateful and like you're going to worship them for giving you whatever, then they start talking about how they shouldn't give. And they could have took it and, and in some instances that's relevant, but a lot of people, like, okay, prime example. That's why I say, if you need help or if you have, now I talk about what we give as a whole so that people can understand how we operate here. Does that make sense? But people that have received help from us, they don't have to tell that nobody don't never have to know. Right? That's why we have the email. That's why I don't have a whole bunch of people handling certain stuff. It's just me. So if you got help from us or you got assistance from us, nobody will know unless you tell them. You hear me? Nobody ain't gonna know that you got no assistance from us unless you tell them that. That's your personal business. If you need help with your whatever, that is your personal business. And I actually really you don't gotta tell nobody nothing. Long as I know and you know and the problem solved, that's all that matters. And don't nobody else need to know. But when you're doing things like, it ain't nothing recording you being kind, but do you have to record that? You hear me? All you got to do is think about if you was in the worst situation you had ever been in your life and somebody was showing you to the world, how would you feel? And now you have people all around the world that don't know your story that's commenting on something they know nothing about. I lived in my car, so I know I wouldn't have wanted anybody to record me while I was asleep in my van. I can tell you, it would have broke me down. Now, have I given like me and my babies used to go and give out food, right? Downtown in Indy. We would go and we would give out food. I would make a big pot of chili, make cornbread, and we would put packages together. How did I get out of my van? I made one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make in my life, and I sent 2 of my kids to live with my mama and 2 of my kids to live with my auntie for about 3 to 6 months. And I got on my ish. And it wasn't that I wasn't on my ish. I had moved to a new city and didn't realize that the person that I was around was raggedy. And so I made a hard decision and got I this is the thing, right? Most times when I'm in a situation, it's normally because I'm trying to help somebody else. Or I'm dragging somebody with me. This is why I don't attach to people anymore, because I had to realize that people see the favor on your life and they will attach to you. So I got my children back. Yeah, I didn't give them up for adoption. I just sent them to live with family. Yeah, why wouldn't I? I didn't give them away. I sent them to two to my mama and two to my auntie. It ain't no, it's just like sending them to camp. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, your words is so big. It sound like you was yelling over here. Yeah, that was years ago though. But listen, hard decisions have not ever been. I'll make hard decisions. You hear me? A lot of people don't want to make hard decisions, but avoiding hard decisions, the situation is still gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to make uncomfortable calls to do what you got to do, and I would rather. I don't want my kids to struggle, so if I need to put them in a different situation real quick, I'm about to do it. I'm not about to stay in this because this is what I want, but what I want is not getting me what I need. I've always been able to make hard decisions like that. I don't shy away from difficult decisions. I run into them head on because I'm trying to get to the other side. Some people are just, oh, ain't nobody helping me, or oh, ain't nobody doing this, or oh, okay, but what you doing though? You hear me? Yeah, they do. Yeah, people have to get their kids taken away. There are all kinds of different situations that happen. You hear me? Like, I don't know, maybe because I was on my own so young, there's a lot of decisions I wasn't scared of making. You hear me? It's a lot of, I mean, but this is the thing. Just because you have a kid doesn't mean you're supposed to raise it. Do you hear me? Sometimes, I mean, plenty of people in the Bible and wherever you go, they had to go. I mean, a lot of the prophets had to go live with somebody else. So, like, people look down on certain things, but again, like I said, your life and what is supposed to happen with you, it doesn't matter what your family says about it. It doesn't matter what your friends say, because they didn't give you, right, Moses, they didn't give you your life. And so when you get over how other people feel like they view you and understand that they do not have to walk in your shoes, it's a lot of stress and crazy stuff that fall off your shoulders, baby. Because listen, if you wasn't feeding my kids, if you wasn't trying to do nothing for them, I didn't give a damn about nothing you said. Why would your opinion matter about my life and you're not helping me do nothing? Did you send some money today for my kids to eat? So why should I worry about your opinion about what they eat? And I wouldn't give a damn. And I was young, but this is how I thought. You can say whatever you want to say, but if you not kicking in, your words ain't valuable to me. You hear me? And at a very young age, I knew where to tell people to get off the damn bus. Long as I'm doing whatever I gotta do for my kids and they happy, it don't matter what nobody else think. It don't matter what nobody, because I'm not a parent to you. I'm not a wife to you. I'm not a husband to you. I'm not none of that. So people will stress their whole life worried about what people, whether you do good, or you do bad, they gonna talk. And I learned that. You could be at the height of your whatever, baby. They still gonna have something to say. And that is not about to change the way I sleep. Do you hear me? That is not about to change the way I sleep. Plenty of people is going to say crazy stuff, but do that put money in your checking account? Because if it don't, I'll just be trying to figure out why you worried about it. Why they opinion of what type of wife, like I told y'all, once I got it in my mind that the only person that I was parenting was my children, and so the only um, opinion that mattered about how I was parenting was the people that I was parenting, I didn't care who said what around me. When I got married, I didn't care if everybody on the outside said I was a good wife if my husband didn't think I was one. See, most people be more worried about what people say about whatever it is that they're doing than the people that they're interacting with. That wasn't me. If my kids said, "Mommy, you a good mommy," I could give a damn what anybody on the outside of my house think, because guess what? I'm not parenting them. And they are not walking in my shoes. So your view of whatever type of person, it don't change my life none, because if I click this off, if I don't talk to you, you don't affect my life at all. So why am I gonna let people that are on the outside of my house stress me out and they not doing nothing in here? Baby. I would, and this is why people like, I don't like her. I wouldn't like me either. That's okay. You'll get over it. If you turn off your phone, if you turn off your social media, if it don't affect what's going on where you lay in your head, why is you? Don't do it. Because once I turn this off, and if I keep these ringers on silent, baby, don't nothing affect my life. I can have my headphones on all day and won't hear not damn device, honey. I won't know until I know. And if it's anything that's going to keep me irritated or just crazy, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't care if it's my kids. I don't care. I'm not doing it. No. I don't want to know no family drama. I don't want to know no gossip. I don't want nothing. Because that stuff, what do listening to gossip do for your life? Tell me. Say you spend 30 minutes on the phone listening to gossip. Tell me what it did. What did it do? What did it add to your life? What did you grow from doing that? Like, what did you learn? What can you sow into somebody else? Like, what was it's draining. Nothing. You didn't get nothing. These are receptors. Do you realize that's all they do is receive? The only thing these things, okay, your balance, equilibrium. But other than that, the only thing that these do is receive. These are receivers. Right? If you put your phone your ear to the phone, you can feel the vibration of the person's voice even though they lips ain't to your ear, right? Right? You can feel the vibration of a person's voice that is not, that their lips are not to your ear while they're saying this. So that's energy. It's something's moving around. We know that your brain is calculating all of the different pitches and sound and all of these different things. We know that. So you are using energy, right? But the part of the brain that negative talk and all of that stuff and negative emotion is stored in is now using more energy than the part that releases the endorphins to make you happy and all of these different things. Feel good and feel whatever. So there is an actual chemical process that is happening in your brain while you are listening to. And you, right, bad vibes. And, right, you're using energy. You are using, and those words are being stored in your short-term memory. So even when you hang up the phone, if you wasn't irritated, your mind is now processing information, negative information, that don't have nothing to do with you. It don't affect your life at all. But now you looking at your spouse weird, or you're looking at the serotonin. Thank you. Thank all of that. All of the good. You heard me. It's a real thing that you can guard your receivers, and you will see a change in your life. You can guard your receivers. And when you stop watching reality TV where everybody always arguing, sleeping with everybody, throwing drinks, ain't nobody honest, everybody always trying to bust out a secret and all this other weird stuff. When you stop putting that stuff in front of your face, you know what happened. You don't be so irritated. And you feel like you can trust people. Because those things breed, those shows breed insecurities, trust issues, high blood pressure. You said, oh, you got me on this. Uh-oh. They make you look at your life and feel like it ain't nothing because you ain't in the bikini on the beach talking crazy to your man in the water, and don't even realize they can't afford it for real either. The show paid for that. Have you feeling anxious after every episode? Listen. Looking at your friends sideways, just crazy. That's why I told y'all it's hard for me to just watch anything. Most things, sorry, that's killing me. Most things that I watch are in reference to something I read, something I plan to read, or something like that. Like I'm not just gonna sit up and watch like people talking crazy. It's gotta be something that is relevant to the things that I read or the things that I study or something. Like I can't. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm a music person. Certain music, yeah. Yeah, you're right. A lot of this mess they make now, I can't. I don't even be knowing what they saying. It be sounding like 2-year-olds. That's what I be. I used to work in daycare. And when they learn how to rhyme, like, that's what I be hearing with this new music. Some of it, or it's just too... I feel like music that only used to be played in a club is played everywhere now, and to me that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, certain stuff shouldn't be played on the radio, and it just... But I felt that a long time ago. When my kids was little, we didn't listen to everything. Most times they was listening to R&B, and they had to listen to the clean version of every song. If I caught them listening to anything with cuss words in it, they get their phone or whatever device taken away. But they could listen to music, but they had to be able to read the words to me. You got to be able to read the lyrics. And if you can't say it in front of mommy, why is you listening to it? Go get it. Go on and get the words, and let's see what it says. Do you think you should be listening to that? And we would break down all the songs. This is when they was like 2nd, 3rd grade, because you want to listen, you can't listen to all of that. Sorry. Yeah. And it's crazy because, you know, they ain't got there's so much with the music, because I think my grandbaby can say "get it sexy," but I think that's because it's on the radio. I said, what'd she say? And she called her grandma Big Back. I still ain't got over that. Big Back, Big Back. Her mama said, what'd you say? And bust out laughing. I think she had just turned 2. She hadn't even been 2, like 1 or 2 months. Not you calling your grandma Big Back. If I was where you at, I would have whooped you. Call me Big Back. petty little girl. Still can't believe she did that to me. I remember when they couldn't cuss on the radio too. Yep. Sure did. My grandson just called my daughter that on Sunday. I'm trying to tell you, these kids is brutal, and that's why y'all be babying them, and I'm not doing that. They could be monsters. You know what, Mari? You know what, Mari? Kids is horrible. You hear me? I wasn't doing nothing but making coffee, but she knew I was in the kitchen. Listen. They are horrible. Kids are horrible. They great, but they mean. And they say stuff that'll cut you to your soul. They say a whole bunch of stuff that'll cut you to your soul, honey. I don't care what nobody say. Did y'all see what Korea said? North Korea, South Korea? Oh, you watch No More Sheets? You had your tissues? Did you have your tissues? Oh, I know you had your tissues! Good job! That mean a word. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, you watched it too, Joy? Uh-huh. You was ripping your sheets off? Yep. That's a powerful message, honey. And just think, I was watching that at 20 and 21 years old. Listen. Y'all is in the covenant. Okay. Listen. Yeah, you saw that, Mari? I started the book, and the first couple pages was a lot. Oh. Okay. So just think, God hit me with that at 20 years old. Don't get off the train and No More Sheets. When I tell you I was messed up, you hear me? The napkins from the takeout. Listen, baby. Did y'all see they gave us a balloon warning? Y'all saw that? They gave us a pop the balloon warning. Was it South Korea or is it South? Y'all saw that? And don't type the things. Y'all seen it? Think about the noise that happens when you pop a balloon. And think about what people... Oh! What was that? I thought that was... Mari seen it too. You seen a video of them saying peace on earth. No, I don't know about that. I just seen that today. I said, oh. Oh. Hey, good evening. Listen. Yeah, hop in that kind of balloon. Beep. as the world turns. As the world turns. Interesting. So, class, thank you. There's a lot going on in this area of the world right here. You can see, you see it in here, and right in here, and right here is where they just bought all that land, and there's boats in here, and there's boats here. You see, there's a lot going on in this part of the world here. There's boats here. There's going to be boats there. These people are not going to get along with those people. And so, yeah. These people and these people, right? Why is y'all all the way over here in their business right here? Interesting. Those would be kings of the north, right? Those would be kings of the north. Those would be kings of the north, wouldn't they? Yes, they would. The Bible talks about the kings from the north coming down and getting with certain people around that little space right there. You know? And it's so funny because kings of the north are in Congo and different places. It's interesting. Hey. So, very interesting. About how the kings of the north are getting with the kings of the south of them and the west of them and the east of them and buying property and making alliances and all kinds of things. Hey, I asked Dad to get me more in depth about the story of Noah. I was reading today and got more intrigued. Come on, nephew! You said you was reading about Noah and it started tickling your fancies? Your feet start wiggling and stuff? Neurons was firing. See, I don't understand how people don't think that the Bible is juicy. It is one of the most juicy stories you'll ever read in your life, if you read it right. If you go searching for the right good stuff, it'll make your toes wiggle because the depth that God put into these stories and the fact that people never even get to see it because they will not go past the surface is mind-blowing to me. It's like, why wouldn't you want to know more about the stories? You think God just put 33,000 feet of water out here for nothing? Like, so that's just not important to you? Okay, well, They always say, what does that have to do with salvation? Well, how you going to get saved and you don't even know why he destroyed the earth the first time? Well, they was sinful. Well, what sin was they doing? Tell me. Because I want to know the Canaan did to Noah for him to bring a curse. Oh, yeah. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. Couldn't be because he was just drunk and naked. Well, and there was violence on earth and violence in all things, for there were less women, and the men continually sought after strange flesh for gratification. The wrath of living things was a living force that the earth had never seen. Evil spread like locusts, resting upon every part of the land, and there will never be evil such as that again. Men then uncovered the nakedness of their fathers and their mothers. They uncovered the nakedness of their brothers and sisters and the nakedness of their own children. And men approached their blood relatives to uncover their nakedness, sharing all that was carnal within their family. And the prize was to uncover a woman's nakedness during her menstrual impurity. They were more carnal than any man who had ever walked the earth and ever since walked the earth ever since. For they did not have the understanding of man, for carnal men know and fools understand. You welcome. It's a lot right in your face in the KJV if you know where to go find the rest of it. God was pissed. And they was free for all and around here, honey. Balls to the wall. Whatever goes, goes. We doing it. It was wild. Wild. God did not just destroy this earth for no reason. It was wild. Nimrod married his mama. And that was after the flood. This nigga married his mama after the flood. His mama in real life. They was wilding. You hear me? It's real. God was pissed. You got to think. That wasn't a... And men in that day changed into beasts, and the beasts changed into men. And men yielded to the beasts and the birds to lie with them. And then men were great mightily. And those between the land of the dead and of the living mated with them as well. And the Gontiqua was among them. And blank men came into the beast, and the beast came into the man. And the earth groaned for all of the sexual deviancy. Who lied? Somebody lying. I said how they get these muscular structures, and you can. How do you do this if you ain't never seen it? How do you tell me the muscular structure and all the bone structure if you ain't never we did this in biology? Do I believe in Jesus? Of course I do. Does he have a million other names? Yes, he does. Ain't it called bestiality right now? That's big on the dark web, I heard. Some chick just got busted on TikTok for getting it in with her animal, didn't she? Ain't nothing changed. Nothing. Didn't the Claremont twins was they said they was on there, that's how they got busted. Ain't nothing changed. We use our manners. Can you please tell me the name of that book? But it's called The Resurrectionist. It's called The Resurrectionist. Y'all be okay, listen. My grandma used to say, my auntie used to say, open your eyes so you can see it coming. You're welcome. This is why the laws had to be made in Leviticus, I think, about not sleeping with animals, not drinking blood. When you go and you read Enoch and then you read Genesis 6 and you understand what was being said there, and then you go and you look at all of the ritualistic laws that had to be set in place, it's because these things were happening. You only have to make a rule about something if someone is doing it. He didn't make those. Do you understand? You got to start putting stuff in place because people is just wilding. So no, we can't do that. That was never supposed to start. You see what I'm saying? So now we got to make laws for this stuff because people was just wild and crazy. You got to make rules. I know a guy that had a tail and they cut it off. A vestigial tail? Interesting. They had a vestigial tail, huh? That little, yep. We already went through all of the genetic disorders, webbed fingers, webbed toes, bird syndrome, which is Seckle syndrome, all of the polydactyly, syndactyly, all of those, the double rows of teeth, the six finger, what is it? All of the ones. Cyrenomylia, which is mermaid syndromes, where the legs fuse together and the feet go out like fans. Like if you look up human DNA or genetic disorders, you will see it. There are people that have subcutaneous horns that grow out and they shave them down and they say it's an abnormal bone growth, but then they grow another one on the other side, exactly where the horns would come out on a satyr. So it would be interesting. Hypertrichosis is werewolf syndrome, which is where your body is covered completely in hair. It grows on places that it normally doesn't. All of the genetic markers that those beings lived is still here. It's still showing up in our medical marvels today. Yeah. Go look it up for yourself. Yeah. Or we got old classes. That's what my first classes was about. Yeah. Genetics and DNA is crazy, right? Yeah. Yeah. The genes are still showing up. This is why they do. Listen, it's mind blowing when you really open up and see. This is why I told y'all, when you are reading the Bible, don't just read the names. Go look up who they said these people were, and this is how I found. This is how I found out this. Oh, see, nephew. This why TT don't be wanting to leave. We just gonna put it there. It's still on the shelf. They just ain't gonna be able to see it now. So I can't have it falling every time, because then it ain't gonna stay nice. Stuff got. Oh, wait a minute. That's upside down. That's not a helmet. That's his face. And do you see he has a tail in human hands? And this is in the Roman era. And see, they sell you this like it was a helmet. No, baby, he wouldn't need no tail. Why would he need a tail? That's his real face. We know for a fact that in ancient Egypt there were dog soldiers, and in Rome too, because it was right across the water. Now, why in the world would there be one of these? And this was their color because it was when the world was new. Y'all thought they just made up Camp Demigod? No, they really got one. It's really a Camp Demigod. They just won't tell us where it is. Mm-hmm. Not it. So when you go looking, even in here, and these are just simple things. I just show people these simple things because it's a lot we could go through in here. But if you go through the dinosaur book that your kids have at school, something very simple, right? Simple book. Y'all know who the Amorites is. Everybody know who or the Ammonites, not the Amorites, the Ammonites. There was a man in the Bible called Ammon, right? And a lot of the Ammonites, they use this symbol. That's the symbol that they use on Moana too. But if you go and you look up Nereus, Job's brother, he had this at the bottom of his body. And he was a sea god. And he was a shapeshifter. A lot of the seafaring people in ancient Mesopotamia, Ursula too. Yep. So when you go and you look up the Ammonites and you see that all of the designs on their old things, and a lot of their names they were referred to as gods, you understand why. Because they were part of the people that went into Dagon. Yep. Dagon, the fish guy. Yep. So, and he was a what you call it? Phoenician, or that whole area over there. I can't think of it. He was he Phoenician or Persian? One of them. Their lineage over there, the Marine Kingdom. Exactly. This man tried to tell me a while ago the hieroglyphs were just pics and that they hallucinated them. Nephew. And now you see why I tell you. You got to look for yourself, nephew. That is so crazy. Listen, and this is why I start looking for myself, because you're not about to keep telling me whatever you want me to know. We gonna know the real thing that's going on around here. And as y'all can see, we get, and this is why a lot of people don't be wanting to talk to me, because I be like, nah, let me show you something. I guarantee you, you're gonna change your mind at the end of this conversation. And I'm not even trying to convince you. I'm just gonna let you see with your own eyes. I'm gonna just lay it out in front of you, and you take it. Yeah, they be crazy. Yeah, but you know what? It's because most people are not going to take the time, like I said, to look up the words and then look up where the people lived. Go look up the history of the people. When they're reading the Bible, they just read it so they can say they know more than everybody else. But really, they be missing the whole point of it. Who gonna say you probably used to miss a lot of the point of the Bible? Like, you would read it, but now going in and going and looking up those names and going in and finding the rest of the story, it applies, it hit different from you just reading it. It's mind blowing, right? It's mind blowing, like, bro. No. If that's what you want to do, just keep reading it so you can argue the word, fine. I'm over here trying to study. Study means application to books. Come on now. Come on. Come on. So the fact that you can read just these regular books and see that other books are mentioned that are not in the table of contents, and it never tells you, that never makes you want to go looking. We don't even have to have a conversation. And I ain't trying to be funny, but you don't even see what's right in front of you. How you gonna even think about what I'm trying to tell you? You hear me? You won't even look outside just for Jasher in the first 5 books of the Bible, okay? Or 10 books of the Bible, wherever these names are mentioned, you won't even look through there. So why would you even try to? I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, I went to church and the person who was teaching the word said 76 generations for Adam, and I said, you said, how often do I go live with this knowledge? Every day. I have over 1,000 classes over on YouTube from when we started in 22. It's a whole bunch of these. And it's a lot better probably in the beginning because I was putting out so much information. Now I relax. I asked the guy from church and he said, don't worry about the lost books. You don't supposed to read them. Lord Jesus. My people are destroyed because they have no knowledge. You pastors have refused to learn, so I will refuse to let you be pastors for me. You have forgotten the law of your God, so I will forget your children. That's Hosea 4 and 6, because we don't call them priests. My people are destroyed because they pastors keep telling them, don't read the rest of my word, even though I say I have hidden mysteries. Go deeper and come higher. How you do that with something that's sitting right in front of you? Seeking. If you got to look for it, it ain't right in front of you. I was told them as well that I'm not living by the word. Also, that I was not going by the word. And you can tell them when Eve died. You can tell them where Eve died. You can tell them that Adam and Eve had 53 kids and it wasn't some people that came from over here, because they be lying in the pulpit. I done heard plenty of pastors when the person in Bible study say, well, Pastor, where did the other people come from? They never have an answer. They never have an answer. Or they make up something. But the answer, and how do you think God is going to feel about that? When if they go to Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, if they go there, it says, as it is written, or is it not written in the book of Jasher? If you go to the book of Jasher, it tell you about Adam and Eve's other kids and the rest of the story about Noah being born, how Nimrod and them was there, and Moses being born, and all. I mean, like, we know Adam and Eve's daughters' first names. We know what happened when Adam got buried. We know all of these things. And they say, God, why wouldn't God want us to know about Adam and Eve? He put them in the book. You don't think he wanted us to really understand why he did what he, like, bro, that'd be scary to me. Baby, and this is why God said at the gate, people gonna be like, God, I did everything you asked me to do. And he gonna be like, go work for me, you work of iniquity. Because people in the world is not laying hands. People in the world is not talking about they speaking in tongues and all of this kind of stuff. That's not people in the world. Judgment is starting at the church first. And it's going to be a lot of people that think because they sit up in that pew and a pastor told them they were saved and a pastor told them what to do. But they never went and asked God what he say. And that's the problem. Pastors be wanting you to obey them more than you obey God. And that's why they have become their idol. And this is why the world is sick. Because ain't no way we got all these churches and it's all this turmoil in the streets and the church got power. Moving along. What power do y'all have? Well, not really much, because y'all not connecting to the source for real. God can't lead y'all service because it's going to go how you want it to go. The real people that come in there that got a testimony, oh, they not using them because, baby, they don't wear Gucci and stuff or not giving enough money. But they got the experience that will help the church keep the young people out the street. But they not going to use them because they don't look like nothing. Get gone. Listen. I told y'all going to be studying more than y'all pastors. Did we not talk about that? I said you're going to read more than the ministers in your church. You're going to know more than the ministers in your church. You ain't got to go in there flashing it, but just I want you to pay attention from what you know now to what they still preaching, and you understand why God is going to be upset. And now, not trying to say y'all know more because it's not no competition, but this is why God tells you study to show yourself approved, because he knew that the leaders were going to do certain things so that you couldn't get the information because they want your sin offerings. Keep your money. I want to know if you got this. Go give it to somebody on the street. I don't know. But you said he only coming back for certain churches. How do we know? He ain't coming back. He's coming back for the body of Christ, not no specific church. See how they done mixed it up? You see? He's coming back for the body of Christ. He said, I got sheep in all folds, so everybody ain't in a Christian church. All folds is Buddhism. All folds is Muslim culture. All folds is Presbyterian. It ain't. Do you see? People, when he say, I got sheep in all folds, that's what that means. And the church, they even say, oh, it used to be, oh, he only coming back for Baptists. He only coming back for, I know this. I was a church. I was a 66 or 2. And then I started looking, and God started opening up my understanding. And I said, man, y'all been lying to us the whole time. The Pharisees and the Sadducees is always trying to distinguish instead of going out into the world. The Holy Spirit been saying this to me. The churches are failing as you speak. It's a real thing. They been on. I ain't been to service. I couldn't listen. They kept kicking me out because I was. They kicked me out. You're not welcome here. Oh, I know. Because I'm going to ask the real questions. I'm not just going along with what you say. Show me. Show me in the word. Show me in the word where it say that. And that's why they used to be like, I'm causing problems. No, because I got the answer, sir. And y'all would hear me. Now, I ain't standing up and saying that. But I've always, ever since I was a little kid, pastors have always picked on me. Well, I understand why now. But I also understand, too, that God said he was going to raise up people that wasn't going to be no jellyback Christians, and they was going to tell it like it is. He always had to bring somebody from somewhere else that used to be around these people that know how to deal with them to come back and get them in order. And it's sad because, like I said, they be making up stuff. They be making it up. They make it up because their organization tell them they can't teach that. It ain't God that be telling them. It be their organization. Because it's, if you, okay, y'all know where it is, but let's do this really quickly for the people that don't understand what I'm saying. I want you to do something for me. The word is Onesiphorus, but it's one sip Horus. If you spell it like that, one sip Horus. Put that in as one name and tell me what comes up in your Google. Tell me. The schools the pastors get their knowledge from, they are normally geared towards a Presbyterian college, a Christian college, a blah, blah, blah. So they all have their own curriculum that is going to just be geared towards what you're going to be teaching in their churches because they give you the money and all of this. Listen, my grandmother was an apostolic pastor. I'm trying to tell you. I got uncles that's Baptist preachers and Kojic. I got them all in my family. And they're all ministers. And they all still like, yeah. They don't, yeah. It means profit bearing. So type in that word and Paul. That's somebody's name. And where is it found at in the Bible? Can you tell me where it's found at? That name? An of Basil. Oh, that's another name for him. Okay. What else you find? Where's the scripture? It should have brought up Paul and Thecla too. The second, okay, so it comes up in Timothy. Once, okay, Onesiphorus sought after Paul, who was imprisoned in Rome. That's what it tells you. Now, if you keep searching that name, it's going to lead you to the apocryphal book, Paul and Thecla. Because that's how I found it. You hear me? I was Googling that scripture, that name, where it is. This was years ago. And I was like, what does this mean? And I saw what it meant. And then I looked, and that's how I stumbled on the book of Paul and Thecla. You hear me? Paul and Thecla, that is how I got that book. So if you have read 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, you hear me? All these times, never Googled that name. That's how I found the book of Paul and Thecla, from using that name because Paul went to Iconium to visit Onesiphorus. They had never even met in person. And we've read the story. That's where the Demas and Hermogenes. Do you see? So if you don't don't just read it, but you study it, it'll lead you to these other books, the rest of the story. This is how I found a lot of the books, because I would be reading the KJV, NLT, NIT, whatever version, and I'm looking up these names, and then just more lost books kept popping. I'm like, wait a minute. Even reading Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, or Numbers, when it talked about the giants, the Nephilim. Excuse me. The book, the Nephilim, leads you to Jasher. It'll lead you to the Jubilees. All these different books. If you're studying, it will lead you to it. So when God says go seeking, if you going to seek, you're going to run into it. A friend of Paul. Yeah, right. So then if you go to the Apocrypha on sacred texts or in your books, and you find the book of Paul and Thecla. Did I put it back? Yep. See that? Paul and Thecla right there. Paul and Seneca. Christ and Abagars, the book of Nicodemus. We know Nicodemus was, look, Ephesians is in here. But we don't have Barnabas. We don't have the Trillians. We got Romans, right? These are the rest of the books. We got Philippians, but we didn't get Polycarp or the Smyrnamians, however you say that. The Magnesians, we didn't. So these were the other books. They picked the ones they want. This is the story of Mary, and you can find out that her mama and daddy was, Mary's mama was barren. Jesus' grandma was barren. And an angel came to her and said, don't worry, you're going to have the mother of all mothers. This story is about Mary. What we know, Mary walked at 9 months. She actually danced at 9 months. We also know that she was kept in a synagogue and was reared by angels from the time she was 3 until she got pregnant with Jesus. And she started her cycle, She started her cycle, and the priest wanted to put her out because at that time women on their cycle couldn't be in the temple. And he was scared because he didn't know what he was supposed to do. And then they did the whole choosing sticks with Joseph, and that's how he got her. And he didn't want her because he was a widower. His wife had already died and he had grown kids, and she was 14. It don't tell you nothing about that in your KJV. But you can read Mary's whole story about how her mama and daddy gave a third. They only kept a third of their money. So if they had $100, they gave away $33.33 to the poor, gave the other $33.33 to the church, and they lived on 33%. And they did that for years. And people used to be, oh, they ain't got no kids, God didn't curse them and all of that. It don't tell you nothing about that. It just tell you Mary of the tribe of this and that and whoopty wop wop wop. Like, but it's more. You can literally read what Jesus did when he was a little kid. Our Bible tells us he was foretold, he was born. They tried to unalive him and his cousin. He was 11, 30, and then 33, and then he was dead. Really. There's nothing else? Sure there is. Sure there's more. So people, I know who Jesus is. Tell me what he did when he was 4. Tell me what happened when he was about 8. Tell me. What did he say when the little boy kicked the tadpoles and he was playing with him? What did he do to him, since you know Jesus oh so well? What did the people say to Jesus when their kids kept dropping and getting all shriveled up like vines? What did the people say to Jesus, since you know him so well? What they say to his daddy? What happened when the robbers tried to rob him and his mama and his daddy when they was on their way to Egypt? Tell me what was happening when Jesus was born and people would take the water that he bathed in or his little dirty diaper or his clothes that he had on. What happened when he took them clothes off and they gave those to people? Tell me what happened when he was a baby. Tell me, since you know him. Vitamin K, you can read it yourself. I'm about to show you where to go find it. Because it's good nighttime stories for the kids if you got kids. You go to Sacred Text. You go to Sacred Text. You're going to hit the Apocrypha right there. You're going to see this lady and the baby, right? You're going to go down here. If you want to know more about Adam and Eve and what happened to them when they got kicked out of the garden, there's 2 books. There's the rest of Enoch, Psalms of Solomon, Odes of Solomon. But you're going to go past here to this book by Rutherford Platt. You're going to click this. Go up. Boom. All those books that I just showed you are in here. So, see? The Proto-Evangelion, the Gospel of Mary, the first Gospels of the infancy of Jesus Christ, Thomas's Gospel. You see this? There's more books, Pumpkin. And there goes, see, Ephesians, Barnabas, the Trailhians. You see this? Philadelphians, Romans. Do you see this? Here go your other books right here. Paul and Thecla, Paul and Seneca, the Gospel of Nicodemus, which is a very good book. That's what happened when Jesus died. Sacred Text. Sacred Text. Sacredtext.com. Sacredtext.com. You can go to Sacred Text right now and read. Y'all, we can read it. We can read some of it if y'all want to. Let me run to the restroom and we'll read a little bit of it. Yeah, baby. So now when you go back and you read about Jesus being born, and now when you go back and you read about Mary, the Bible, you'll start to believe more and more that it is real because you see the rest of the story. It's amazing. It's amazing. You could read right now about Mary, about Jesus, and he was a trip. Just like somebody just said, Jesus was not all fluffy. He didn't play with kids when he was a kid, honey. Thou shalt go no further, and kids, folks was dropping out of here. I think some of the people that he might have healed is some of the people it's really juicy. It is. They don't even talk about it in church. Come on, Benita. I'm trying to tell you. Hey, listen. And it make you want to know more about Jesus. So now you know when people be like, I know who Jesus is. And you can't tell me. You can't tell me. y'all, a song just came in my heart, and y'all know I sound like a frog. We will lift our hands. Welcome into this place. Y'all know that? Y'all know it? Welcome into this holy vessel. You desire to abide in the praises of your... Yeah, that is in my mind. You listen here. You just got out of the hospital today. I'm happy you got out. I'm happy you okay. That is my song. And I know I don't know all the words, but y'all know the one I'm talking about. All right, let's go to the first infancy of Jesus Christ. That's a good song. Go to the Apocrypha, please. To the first infancy of Jesus Christ so we can read it, even though we done read it 7,162. 7,001,652 times. Yes, you out, girl. That makes me excited. We get to see you again another day. You hear me? I sound like a frog. It's okay. Y'all know what I'm doing. Is we ready? Is y'all ready? All right. Here we go. It says the following accounts we found in the book of Joseph the high priest, called by some Caiaphas. He relates that Jesus spake even when he was in the cradle. We got any newbies here? Anybody, you never heard this story before? Jesus was talking when he was first born. Soon as he came out his mama, he was talking to her. What would you have done if you have children, if you would have pushed your baby out and instead of them crying, they say, hey, mama? Would you have passed out, dropped your kid? Left them there? You said I'd have left them right there. I don't know who kid that is, but it ain't mine. He said, what up, Mary? How you doing? Yeah, you said I would have fainted. Me too. I would have fainted, baby. You supposed to be goo-goo and gaga, baby. He spake. He talked. I would have passed out. Me too. And said to his mother, Mary, I am Jesus, the Son of God. That word which thou didst bring forth according to the declaration of the angel Gabriel to thee. And my Father has sent me for the salvation of the world. In the 309th year of the era of Alexander, Augustus published a decree that all persons should go to be taxed in their country. Joseph therefore arose, and with Mary his spouse he went to Jerusalem, and then came to Bethlehem, that he and his family might be taxed in the city of his fathers. And when they came by the cave, Mary confessed to Joseph that her time of bringing forth was come, and she could not go on to the city, and said, let us go into this cave. At that time the sun was very near going down. But Joseph hastened away that he might fetch her a midwife. And when he saw an old Hebrew woman who was of Jerusalem, he said to her, pray, come hither, good woman, and go into that cave, and you will there see a woman just ready to bring forth. It was after sunset when the old woman and Joseph with her reached the cave. And they both went into it, and behold, it was all filled with lights, greater than light of lamps, and candles, and greater than the light of the sun itself. Could you imagine? It's nighttime by the time they got back. Think about Hollywood or a movie premiere, how it's all lit up, but it's dark all around that. Crime scenes be lit up like that. Could you imagine? And he's the light of the world now. He was the light that was created in the beginning. Jesus is part of the let us make man. He was the light that was created. And when he came to earth, you could see it. It's amazing that the movie community, they mock that. Don't they? Even with Look Who's Coming or Look Who's Talking, that's what happened with the baby. He went into the light, and then it was a bright light. But Jesus is the light of the world, and when he was born, he lit up the space that he was in, which is mind-blowing. Could you imagine being his mother and only 14? Could you imagine? A 14-year-old girl and angels from... Ooh, here we go. The infant was then wrapped up in swaddling clothes, and sucking the breast of mother. I'm not going to say St. Mary. I'm going to just say Mary. When they both saw this light, they were surprised. The old woman asked Mary, "Art thou the mother of this child?" And Mary replied that she was. On which the old woman said, "Thou art very different from all other women." And Mary answered, "And there is not any child like to my son. So neither is there any woman like to his mother." The old woman answered and said, "O my lady, I am come hither that I might obtain an everlasting reward." And then Mary said to her, "Lay thine hands upon the infant," which when she had done, she became whole. The first recorded miracle Jesus did was heal the midwife that was going to help take care of him. It was not turning water to wine. Is he a healer or not? You think that whole touch the hem of his garment and I'll be made whole just started when he was 30? You thought that's when it started? No. He was his whole embodiment. From the top of his head to the sole of his feet, he was the balm that was going to heal the world. He was born the healer of the earth from it being cursed. Because prior to him, nobody could go to heaven. Unless God called you up, nobody was going. Everybody went to hell first. Everybody. Except for Elijah and Enoch and the Rechabites. Other than that, Abraham, I think he got to go too. Okay? So look. And as she was going forth, she said, "From henceforth, all the days of my life, I will attend upon and be a servant of this infant." So she became his what? What did she become? Jesus healed her because I think her hand was withered. His nanny. His nanny. As soon as she touched him, she was healed. God can't have no sick folks around him. You gonna be useful and everything around me gonna be productive. Oh. Oh. So from the moment he came here, he was healing folks by just touching him. Hey. Her hand was withered. I think she had like a stroke or something. All right. Here we go. After this, when the shepherds came, that's the part y'all know about, and had made a fire, and they were exceedingly rejoicing, the heavenly host appeared to them, praising and adoring the supreme God. And as the shepherds were engaged in the same employment, the cave at the time seemed like a glorious temple, because both the tongues of angels and men united to adore and magnify God on account of the birth of the Lord Christ. Could you imagine? "14 years old. With your baby. First of all, you done been ridiculed because you got married at 14. You've been away from your parents since you was 3. You only saw them once a year. When they came to Jerusalem to the temple, you got to see them from the time you was 3 years old until you was about 13 or 14. Now you done had this baby by this older, you married a man, but the baby that you got pregnant with, he was already gone. He put you in the house, didn't even stay there, got his stuff and left for 6 months. So everybody is watching your belly grow, but they know your husband didn't blow your back in. They know for a fact because there was no sheets. See, people forget that at this time, it was somebody standing outside the door to collect the sheets for the show of blood. It wasn't none. It wasn't no sheets. So everybody know that Joseph didn't bust her down, baby. But now Joseph then came back, right? He left the night he married her. I got to put in the house. I got to work. I got a job I got to go do. And then he get back in 6 months. He know for a fact he ain't touched her. And he come in the house. Everybody know when she go outside to get water, what's popping. They ain't crazy. She walking outside like this. And everybody know Joseph ain't been there. Joseph ain't been in town in 6 months because he building a building out in New York. Joseph ain't been there. Wasn't no sheets with no blood on them, so you know he ain't consummated the marriage and her stomach swole up. You don't think Mary at 14 years old used to get sad and cry and ask God why you choose me? Why I had to be away from my mama from 3 to 14? Why my other brothers and sisters got to be with mama and daddy? I got to be here in this church all the time praying and talking to angels. I want to go do what everybody else want to do. I don't want to be in this church. And now you telling me that I'm going to have a baby and I know what it takes to have a baby and I ain't done that yet. You got the whole world riding in your belly for 9 months while the whole world is talking about you at 14 years old. And my Jesus, and you have the thank you, Lord, the Savior of the world, the very world that is going to take your baby is talking crazy, and you have their deliverance in your womb. You don't think she was scared? You don't think at 14 she wanted to give up? When her own family probably was sitting in her face calling her a liar, telling her she didn't get pregnant by no spirit, she crazy, ain't nobody called you girl, she's out of her mind, and her belly getting bigger and bigger, and she feel the power of God moving in her body, and she don't got no aches and no pains, because he is healing. Ooh. Excuse me. Are you crazy? Do you understand the weight that this baby was carrying at 14? It's grown women that can't deal with the ridicule. And she did it. They talked about her mama, remember? That her mama wasn't never going to have no baby. Then her mama had a baby, and they all crazy, girl, because her mama used to always be talking about God was going to give her a baby girl. I mean, he finally did. He gave her Mary. But now this girl talking about she pregnant by a spirit, baby. The devil. Do you understand? But Teen Mom to Teen Mary, I feel you. Teen Mom to Teen Mom Mary. Because my baby's been a blessing to the world where people told me the devil got me. God ain't gave that girl that baby. She 16 years. My babies done help people not commit suicide and all kinds of stuff. Kept people from getting raped and all kinds of stuff. Help people get their life together and all kinds of stuff. Oh no. God used my babies as healers in every single situation that they done been in, baby. He sure did give me my children at 16, at 19, at 22, and at 23. Sure did. They not only help people, save people, they saved me. They kept me on the right path. Because I had them, I couldn't do whatever I wanted to do. I couldn't be out all night doing whatever. I had to be at home. And I ain't don't get me wrong, I had my nights. But baby, they made my life change. Yes, God gave me my kids. It don't matter if you think they did or not, but they still blessing folks still to this day. My babies give, they counsel, they help, they take people to go get food. They do all kinds of stuff. Yes, he did give me my kids. And it didn't matter what you thought. My first child came at 15. Okay, so Mary was a teen mama. So when folks be talking crazy, I hit them in the throat with that. You know Mary was only 14. She had Jesus. What? Mary was only 14 when she had Jesus. And her cousin wasn't too much older than her that her had John the Baptist. Jesus and John the Baptist about 6 months apart. My mama had my brother at 14. My mother had my oldest brother when she was 14 years old, and then she had another baby when she was 15. My brothers is 7 months apart. Yeah. One born in October and one born in June. Or 9 months. 7 and 9. Something like that. Mm-hmm. Ain't that crazy? So people will talk crazy and they don't be knowing, but we moving on. Let's go. Here we go. All right. Ba, ba, ba. Oh, sorry. Could you imagine? Sorry, y'all done got me riled up and stuff. Could you imagine having your baby and it's angels in there telling you to push because Jesus was born when they got back? The angels and heavenly host delivered Jesus. The only other human that was in the room was Mary. Joseph wasn't there. They came and Jesus was already born. He was already on the boob. So the angels delivered Jesus. The same angels that Lucifer said, well, you got all them angels around you. They ain't even going to let you, like, hit your foot, jump. They'll pick you up. They'll carry you. You know this. They've been here since you was born to protect you and keep you safe. Jump. Do it. You got angels, don't you? You got angels, don't you? Do it, Jesus. Just jump. They gonna protect you. He was born in the spring. The spring. Mm-hmm. So could you imagine? You got angels, don't you? Jump, Jesus. Just jump. They gonna catch you. Just jump. Oh, moving on. When the old Hebrew woman saw all these evident miracles, she gave praises to God and said, I thank thee, O God, thou God of Israel, for that mine eyes have seen the birth of the Savior of the world. And when the time of his circumcision was come, namely the 8th day, on which the law commanded the child to be circumcised, they circumcised him in the cave. And the old Hebrew woman took the foreskin, others say she took the navel string, and preserved it in an alabaster box of oil of spikenard. And she had a son who was a druggist, to whom she said, take heed thou sell not this alabaster box of spikenard ointment, although thou shouldest be offered 300 pence for it. Now this is that alabaster box which Mary the sinner procured, and poured forth the ointment out of it upon the head and the feet of our Lord Jesus Christ, and wiped it off with the hairs of her head. The alabaster box that everybody sing about that's so important that she broke literally had Jesus's umbilical cord or his foreskin from when he got circumcised. So the reason that they said the oil is representative of his blood flowing is because when he was being anointed, the only person holy enough to pray over God himself in the flesh is God himself. And so then his blood mixed in and set in that oil for 33 years. And then the hoe had enough money to buy it. It's the same oil she broke on him. That's why the alabaster box is so important. And I promise you, when I started asking pastors, do you know why that alabaster box is so important after I had read this? Now, I said, did you know that it had Jesus' DNA in it, and there was no priest that was holier, seeing as how he's the ultimate high priest that could pray over no oil that would be holy enough to anoint him, so he anointed himself with his own blood and DNA 33 years earlier? Where did you read that at? You wasn't excited about what I said. You didn't hear nothing I said. You just worried about where I read it. That didn't blow your mind that he anointed himself because nobody was holy enough to do it? The fact that his DNA was in that, none that all went through, you went through all you that none of that made your toes wiggle or nothing? Right. They be worried about the wrong stuff. You said dry bones. Okay, I'm about to go get me some water. I was about to say I'm about to go get me some water. You said dry bones. Listen here, that didn't make your toes wiggle to understand why that moment in history is so significant. Okay, listen. And now y'all see why I quit arguing with him. I'm like, yeah, God ain't as important as you say. The money that you get from talking about God is important, but not God. You hear me? You talking about God gets you money. So that's why you don't want to hear this other stuff. It's not important to you to know God. You're just worried about how God is beneficial for you. Because if that don't make you want to know more about his story, I don't know what do. You hear me? You said my toes is wiggling. That part. She poured it right back to the rightful owner. Come on. That's a huge thing to know. I was like, wow. Dad, you so smart. You is smart. You is kind. And you is wise. How can you not be amazed by that story, right? And it'd be the pastors that used to be like, nah, that ain't relevant. I said, you don't think that's relevant to salvation? That there was nobody higher than him that could pray over no oil to anoint nobody with? And so he anointed himself. And the reason that we say that the oil is representative of his blood is because the first oil that was poured out to get him ready for the reason we even can say we saved already had his blood in it. Like, are you not? Oh, right. It's not interesting at all. Never mind. And that's why I just start writing everything down, because I do not have time to be arguing with y'all about how amazing my dad is, and it just go right over their head. I'll be like, you right. That don't have nothing to do with salvation. Nothing. Absolutely anything. She was getting him ready so that we right. Right. Okay. I'll be like, people is crazy, man. Then after 10 days, they brought him to Jerusalem, and on the 40th day from his birth, they presented him in the temple before the Lord on the 40th day. So a month and 10 days, roughly a month and 9 days, depending on how that worked out. Excuse me, making the proper offerings for him according to the requirement of the law of Moses, namely that every male which opens the womb shall be called holy unto God. Your first son, you dedicate him to the Lord. At that time, old Simeon or Simon saw him shining as a pillar of light. Y'all heard that? You heard that? So when Simon or Simeon, however you say it, saw him, he saw him like the pillar of light that he would. Now he's 40 days old now. He's not newborn. But when she uncovered him, it was this bright light. What in the world? It's a glowworm. It's a glowworm. Ain't that what happened with a glowworm? You hug them, you pick them up, and they face light up. That's a glowworm. That's what it is. Y'all remember the glowworms? Do they still make them? No, that's not a baby doll no more. They do. If they don't, they need to bring them back. I want one too. Listen, they need to bring them back. They need to bring glowworms back. They need to bring them back. Yep, well, Jesus was a glowworm in a sense, which is crazy. And when Mary the Virgin, his mother, carried him in her arms and was filled with the greatest pleasure at the sight. And the angel stood around him, adoring him, as a king's guards stand around him. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? So they at the temple, Jesus 40 days old. And even though Simeon or Simon and Mary are talking and she's holding Jesus, it's angels standing around him just like a king's guard stand around him. He's 40 days old. Isn't that interesting to know? That at 40 days, and we don't know how many angels that is. He's only 40 days old and he got the best security on the planet. Him and his mama. Interesting. Then Simon or Simeon, we just gonna say Simon, going near Mary and stretching forth his hands towards her, said to the Lord Christ, Now, O my Lord, thy servant shall depart in peace according to thy word. For mine eyes have seen thy mercy, which thou hast prepared for the salvation of all nations, a light to all people, and the glory of thy people Israel. Hannah the prophetess was also present. And drawing near, she gave praises to God and celebrated the happiness of Mary. Who knew that there was a prophetess around when Jesus was 40 days old? Hannah. Good job, Miss Donna. Who else knew? Prophets and prophetesses were around Jesus when he was born. You said me. Queen got everybody doing cartwheels. Hell. You read it in your study Bible? Okay. So look at this. We don't think Hannah the prophetess got a book somewhere. She met Jesus in person as a baby. Y'all don't think she wrote that down? I had a scribe write that down. Prophets is always writing down their prophecies. Y'all don't think she should have a book somewhere on what she experienced living during that time? Okay. In those days, they wrote everything down. And this is what I be trying to get people to see. So with that, you cannot think that that 66 books is all there is. Even the 80 books is not all there is. if that's the case, right? Even with just the disciples that were made after Jesus was crucified and during the time he was whatever, it was 72 disciples. Where are they books at? The 12 turned into 72. Ain't that what they told us? It ended up being 72 disciples by the end of their little flip game they had. The 12 made 72. So where they books at? We got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Acts, right? Timothy, a few of these other people. But it was more disciples. Where they books? Right. There's books mentioned, the books of the king, the wars of the kings of Israel, and this and that mentioned right in the beginning of your Bible, but they're not in there because I went searching for them. They're not in there. No, they're not burnt. A lot of them is in the Vatican and in different places, in different museums and stuff, and the Smithsonian. You see, here we go. Okay. It says, and it came to pass when the Lord Jesus was born in Bethlehem, a city of Judea, in the time of Herod the king, the wise men came from the east to Jerusalem, according to the prophecy of Zoroaster. I think that's how you say that. And brought with them offerings, namely gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and worshipped him and offered him their gifts. Then Mary took one of his swaddling clothes in which the infant was wrapped, and gave it to them instead of a blessing, which they received from her as a most noble present. And at that time there appeared to them an angel in the form of that star, which had before been their guide in their journey. So who knew that it was an angel? The light that the wise man was following was really an angel. The angel was guiding them to Jesus. They just thought it was this rare star, and it was actually a light. I mean, excuse me, an angel. Mm-hmm. 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 It was an angel. Think about it. Whenever angels used to show up, people used to say a bright light showed up, and they'll be trying to cover their eyes. They always show like the angel is so bright the person can't see, and then the light dissipates and you can kind of see them a little bit. See? So it says had in the form of that star which had before been their guide in their journey, the light of which they followed till they returned into their own country. On their return, their kings and princes came to them inquiring what they had seen and done, and what sort of journey in return they had, what company they had on the road. But they produced the swaddling cloth which Mary had given to them, on account wherefore they kept a feast. And having, according to the custom of their country, made a fire, they worshipped it. And casting the swaddling cloth into the fire took it and kept it. And when the fire was put out, they took forth the swaddling cloth unhurt, as much as if the fire had not touched it. Do y'all realize what happened? The stuff that touched Jesus, his body was fire resistant. They left it in the fire while they was drinking and eating and chilling. And when the fire went out, Jesus's blanket or his swaddling clothes, his little gown or whatever was unburnt. It was like the fire hadn't even touched it. It couldn't be destroyed. Interesting. They began to kiss it and put it upon their heads and their eyes, saying, this is certainly an undoubted truth, and it is really surprising that the fire could not burn it and consume it. And they took it and with the greatest respect laid it upon among their treasures. It's another part of this, and I think it's in the other one. Hold on, y'all. Can y'all go down to chapter 6? Go down to chapter 6 real quick, because y'all can go back and read the rest of this yourself later. But I want to read 6 with y'all, and then I'm going to get off so y'all can go read it. I just want to say hello to y'all. And it's still early. It's already 12, which means I can play my game for about an hour before I get sleepy. So the blanket, could it be the golden fleece? I don't know. Could be. Y'all see it? Y'all at 6 where it says, then they went into another where there was a woman possessed with the devil, and in whom Satan, that cursed rebel, had taken up his abode. Y'all see it? Did y'all go down to 6? Huh? Is y'all over there? Okay. One night when she went to fetch water, she could neither endure her clothes on nor be in any house. But as often as they tied her with chains or cords, she brake them, and went out into the desert places, and sometimes standing where the roads crossed, and in churchyards would throw stones at men. And when Mary saw this woman, she pitied her, whereupon Satan presently left her, and fled away in the form of a young man. Satan had possessed this girl. He would make her strip out of her clothes, basically how they be sometimes in the mental institutions or the mental hospitals. She couldn't wear no clothes, right? And then soon as Mary came up and was getting ready to get close to her, because you know she got Jesus with him, he left the girl and switched into a man and walked away. Tell me that's not crazy. How many times have we seen that in the movies? That girl Mystique, or whatever her name is from what's her name, can do that. You said the hair stood up on my arms, right? We've seen that in so many different movies. Interesting. Okay. Saying, woe to me because of thee, Mary, and thy son. He was mad. So the woman was delivered from her torment, but considering herself naked, she blushed, and avoiding seeing any man, that don't happen no more, and having put on her clothes, went home and gave an account of her case to her father and relations, who, as they were the best of the city, entertained Mary and Joseph with the greatest respect. The next morning, having received a sufficient supply of provisions for the road, they went from them. And about the evening of that of the day arrived at another town, where a marriage was about to be solemnized. But the arts of Satan and the practices of some sorcerers, the bride was become dumb, that she could not so much as open her mouth. What story is that? Hilarious. What story is that? Really? The Little Mermaid. It's the Little Mermaid. There was a wedding that was about to happen, and some sorcerers and Lucifer stole the girl's voice. You gotta be able to say yes. What did Ursula steal so that she couldn't have the prince? And what was Ursula? She was a sea what? Witch. So let's go back and read that. The next morning, having received a sufficient supply of provisions for the road, they went from them, and about the evening of the day arrived at another town, where a marriage was about to be solemnized. But by the arts of Satan and the practices of some sorcerers, the bride was become so dumb, nonverbal. She couldn't speak. They don't call them that anymore. It's a nonverbal. So she went from speaking to just not able to say any words. She could not talk. No words, no nothing. On her wedding day. And it was witches and warlocks that are the ones that did this to her. What's the word pharmacy mean again? Tell me. We on we in the first infancy of Jesus Christ, chapter 6. But what does that mean? What does the word pharmakia mean again? Tell me. Poison, spell, incantation, witchcraft, medicine. So I wonder if somebody gave her something to drink or to eat right before her wedding. This will calm your nerves. And now she can't speak. Now she's become a nonverbal person. Interesting. That she could not so much as open her mouth. But when this nonverbal bride saw Mary entering into the town and carrying the Lord Christ in her arms, she stretched out her hands to the Lord Christ and took him in her arms, and closely hugging him, very often kissed him, continually moving him and pressing him to her body. Straightway the string of her tongue was loosed, and her ears were open, and she began to sing praises unto God, who had restored her. So there was great joy among the inhabitants of that town that night, who thought that God and his angels were come down among them. In this place they abode 3 days, meeting with the greatest respect and most splendid entertainment. And being then furnished by the people with provisions for the road, they departed and went into another city in which they were inclined to lodge, because it was a famous place. And there was in this city a gentlewoman who, as she went down one day to the river to bathe, behold, cursed Satan leaped upon her in the form of a serpent, and folded himself about her belly, and every night lay upon her. And the woman, seeing Mary and the Lord Christ, the infant in her bosom, asked Mary that she would give her the child to kiss and carry in her arms. And when she had consented, and as soon as the woman had moved the child, Satan left her and fled away, nor did the woman ever afterwards see him. He only came on her at night. Like an incubus and like a succubus. How many times in scary movies or just movies have we seen a snake slithering up somebody's leg and wrapping around their body and all of these different things? Do you understand that these things were going on when Jesus was here? And Lucifer kept changing his shape, possessing people, making them do all kinds of things. Crazy. Have y'all noticed how modest people be when they first get in the industry, and then after they be in the industry, you dang near see them completely naked outside all the time? And they be standing in the middle of the street shaking their booty like they working a track and all kind of other stuff. Isn't that interesting? And y'all read up that when Satan got a hold to somebody, they was naked all the time, just can't even stay in the house, always outside, always doing something, always moving around, and they had super strength. Now he done wrapped himself. She was at the thing, and he would wrap himself around her stomach at night and basically torture her, probably, and God knows what else. And this is when Jesus was alive. Anybody ever heard of the Python spirit in the supernatural world? In the religious world, y'all ever heard Sam Smith when he first came into the industry versus now? A lot of them. Y'all know about the Python spirit? What's it do to you? What do they say the Python spirit do? Tell me. What do we do? It wrap around you and squeeze you. Mm. So look like Satan been squeezing the life out of people for a long time, and he always catch them at their most vulnerable time. Binds you up and you can't move and you stay stagnant. Like paralysis. The Python spirit be running through these churches. Y'all know that, right? This is why the churches have not changed. And even when God himself tries to send people in there to wake the people up and get them to move and get them to see something different, baby, no, them spirits be having them churches on lock. They won't move. They won't grow. They do the same thing, give the same word. It keeps you from being able to move spiritually. That's what it does. And it wraps around a lot of churches, and people don't believe it. And that's why You can go and pretty much every whatever, it ain't never gonna be nothing new. You won't be seeing nothing new. You won't be experiencing nothing new or nothing. And it's only so long that you can breathe with restricted breathing before you stop breathing and become spiritually dead. Walking around like a zombie. Just repeating the same thing over and over, over and over, over and over. Ain't no substance to it. Just, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. You can't tell me. I've been in church for my whole life. My pastor says, what does God say? You hear me? What does God say? What did God tell you? What did God, listen, if I would have listened to the pastors, I would have never been right here. I would have never learned the things to be able to show y'all where all this information was. Because they were stuck. Do you understand me? They were stuck. Stuck. But guess what? I ain't for being in the same thing too long. So, it's only so many times. If I can go back in my notes, and I've been here 10 years at this church, and every year around May, you going to preach the same thing. Every January, you going to go to the same scripture, because I got my notes time and dated. It's not ever going to be different. We going to eat the same thing, do the same thing, do the same fake shout. I'm dying in here. I can't. I need something new. Dad, I need something that make me. I told the pastor that, and he got mad at me. Yeah, they don't like that. You said I didn't know none of this when I was in church. My pastor wasn't speaking on none of it. I know, mine wasn't either. But I used to be asking all of these questions, and God said, quit asking men to answer your questions and ask me. And that's what he did. And I just kept finding answer after answer after answer, and I would be trying to tell people, they'd be like, I don't want it. Oh, okay, never mind. I ain't trying to shove it down your face. Come on, because see, this is what I keep telling people. There are things that God told the disciples that he did not tell the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Any of the church members that I knew only tried to condemn me, never teach, but God. Come on. But hear me. There are things that he did not say to the church people that he said to his disciples, because the leaders are the people that put the hit on me. They are the people that they took the church's money and went and told Judas, go on over there and holler at your boy and set it up for us. Don't forget that. Don't forget. So there were things that he told his disciples that he didn't even tell the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were the religious leaders at that time. Everybody ain't privy to the information. Because just because you know Jesus don't mean you close to him. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Just because you know Jesus don't mean you close to him. People know who Beyonce is. They'll never meet her. You hear me? Do you understand? It is not a game. Do you hear me? Just because you know of somebody don't mean you close to them. It's a difference. There was people that was close to Jesus, and there was people that knew of Jesus. Which one will you be? Which one will you be? Will you be a person that knew of Jesus and you could quote all the scriptures, but you didn't even take the time to really dig into his word? Because God said, my word is me and I am my word. So the fact that people say, I don't want to know all that about, I don't need to know all that, you going too deep. Do you realize what you're saying? You saying I don't want to know more about God. When you say I don't want to know more about the scriptures, when he tells you there are mysteries hidden in my word, and you're going to find out some other stuff if you look. Seek and find, that means it ain't right in front of you. That's what that means. He said, go looking. There are mysteries in here. Do you understand me? He said, but they got eyes, but they can't see, and because it's right there. Requesting a private romantic dinner with Jesus for two, please. I'm trying to tell you, come talk to me. Tell me. They don't want to tell me, but I promise y'all, if y'all ever talk to my kids, they used to hear me saying, they don't want to answer my questions, but can you? And he said, well, sure I can. Because I wanted to know more. I said, there's not enough context to these stories. If Adam and Eve lived 930 years, why is there no more information of the first? That just doesn't make sense. That's how God wanted it. So you can imagine when I started sending people these screenshots. Right? I said, well, what is this? When they were driven out of paradise, they made for themselves a tent and mourned for 7 days, weeping in great sorrow. But after the 7 days, and Eve and so. I said, well, what is this? Right. He gonna show you. Satan again deceives Eve. Satan's account on his expulsion from heaven, the birth of Cain. What is this then? The murder of Abel, we see that. And Adam fathered 30 sons and 30 daughters. The Bible say he had 3 sons, and then when he died, they said, oh, he had some more kids, but we don't know their names. It don't tell you what happened. It said that he rested, or he just died because it wasn't no fathers, because he was the one. They started and they rested with their fathers after. But it didn't tell you what happened at his funeral, because he lived 900 years. So whoever was born in those 930 years that he was on the planet, I'm sure they went to go to Adam's funeral when he died, because he was the first man. They got to get the account of the stories of what happened to him and Eve. For 930 years, whatever kids that was born in that 930 years could come back and talk to the first man and ask him about what it was like to be in the presence of God. So when people say who wrote the story down and who was here for it and all this weird stuff, do you even just listen to what you're saying? Science would not even be a thing if it wasn't for people like Abraham and Moses and a few other people, Solomon and whatnot. The list of the plants and all of those things, those things wouldn't even be possible if it weren't for these people. So what do you mean they don't? They have more detailed things about rocks and stuff that we're just now finding out. Like the people over there in Africa that said that they ancestors came from Sirius B, and the scientists are just finding out 20 or something years ago that Sirius B was even a thing, but they've been knowing for thousands of years. So what is you talking about? Can I ask what book I'm reading from? This one. Book 2. Adam's Final Illness. Adam's Story of the Fall. Y'all don't think he had this? Wakanda knowledge. Exactly. So you mean to tell me that God let Adam and Eve live 930 years and he didn't do nothing? There's nothing. You hear me? You said Africa had been showing the mermaids showing up on shore? Yeah. They was made in the 7th generation of Adam. In the 7th generation from Adam is when the mermaids was made. when the giants was made, when the centaurs was made, when the harpies was made. And people never put this together, but what's her name? Isis is a harpy. Is it Isis or what's her name? Hathor? What's her name? Isis is a harpy. She's a whole harpy. No. No. Did his lineage have, yeah, with spirits? Yeah. But Adam was telling everyone that it wasn't for Eve. He would still be balling. Hilarious. Yeah. Lilith, okay. So, Lilith is not just one person. Lilith, when the Bible talks about seducing spirits, the Sadu, back in the Akkadian days and the Babylonian days, they were called the Lilithu. And it's actually a group of female demons. Okay? But you have to also understand that the women that were born from the angels, like the children of the angels, as they died, they became the evil spirits. And if you look at what happens when an evil spirit possesses a person, all of the things that they want are things that they cannot experience anymore because their spirits are trapped here on earth. They did not go back to heaven, right? So this is where the addictions to certain things that they haven't been able to feel, drinking and intimacy and, partners. This is how they was living when they was alive and in their bodies. And they miss it. And they've been without their bodies for a long time. So that's where they're always trying to inhabit a body so that they can feel alive again and get out of that dark, cold space that they exist in between our world and heaven. Or on that different plane. Right? So the female demons, the Lilithu, a lot of them are the children of the fallen angels, like the giantesses, however you say that. The giant women, when they died, their souls didn't go back up, because God said y'all thought that y'all kids was gonna be immortal. They not. They not. And you got to think, everybody before the flood was living 900 years plus. 700 years. The evil people and the good people. The people in Asia was living 900 years. The people in, you know what I'm saying? All of these people was living, everybody that was on the planet was living for almost 1,000 years. So if Adam lived 930 years, and they had 60 kids, and these people are spreading out all over the world and traveling back to go meet Adam, for the family festivals or whatever else it is. You hear me? It's there's gonna be stories of the first man in other cultures and other places because this man lived for 1,000 years. So a lot of people can be born in 1,000 years, especially when they had 4 and 5 wives and 10 wives at a time. It's crazy. Jews still worship them to protect the newborn babies. Yeah. It's a real thing. Like, it be tripping me out that people don't want to know these things about God. And it's like, man, his story is so amazing. Like, all of it. Even the giants and the beings and understanding why God destroyed the earth and what used to be here that's right in front of our face that we just been thinking was mountains and big old plateaus and this whole trees that used to be cut, that was cut down. Like, just the mind-blowing things that have been hidden. And I used to live West Coast. We used to drive from the Midwest to the West Coast all the time. So I saw all of those weird shaped mountains with the lines, and I'm thinking, dang. And I like trees, so I had said to my mama, that looked like a tree stump. She said, girl, that's a mountain and blah blah blah. Come to find out 20 years later, nope, it's a petrified tree stump. That's a whole mountain right now. Because we used to drive through Albuquerque all the time. Adam, here you go with that BS, girl. Go on back to mopping this dang cave because I don't want to see your face. You got dad mad at us. I'm trying to tell you, boy. I know he used to be rolling his eyes at her something fierce, honey. Probably Daniel rolled his eyes out his head, getting mad at her. So many people live in fear. They want to lack the knowledge and be okay with that. They do. And that ain't never been me. I want to know what's going on. And do. You hear me? Tell me. Tell me. I mean, but it's interesting to know that Adam and Eve failed. And they kept getting in trouble. And they kept disappointing God. Do you know that'll help somebody not unalive themselves if they read that first book of Adam and Eve? Not saying that you're going to keep on just cutting up. But it goes to show you that God's grace. When you read Adam and Eve, you stop being so hard on yourself and you understand that we came from them, and God said everything that come out of you is born in sin and shaped in iniquity. So then you will start to really understand the love of God and how much he really loves you. But this world and church will tell you, oh, you keep messing up, God gonna get rid of you and all this old stuff. But if they read that, they wouldn't be barking it. If they read Adam and Eve, they would not be trying to put people in hell and all this old crazy stuff that they be doing. If they read these stories, they wouldn't talk crazy across the pulpit and do some of the stuff that they do and push the people that they supposed to, like, never mind. That's a whole different thing. They don't want to know. And that's their choice. I'm trying to share with whoever want to listen, but I'm only talking to the people that's listening. I'm not talking to nobody that just want to argue the word and what they feel. I don't care if you think it's real or not. God said at the last days, the truth was going to be hidden. And people would believe a lie that this is all there is, that there's nothing else. He said, my people are going to perish. When we looked up perish, there were several different synonyms and, whatever else. One of them was to be obliterated. One of them was to perish. And then it was talking about starvation and all of this stuff, and die an untimely, violent death. I mean, if that's what you want to do, who am I to stand in your way? Who am I to, if you don't want the fullness of God and I don't care. As long as I got it. I don't know. You said it's time for me to get back on it when I first came to the knowledge of Christ and started reading. Yeah. I mean, I have seen the miracles, and I don't care. Like, the fact that I can answer so many people's questions about so many different things and take them to the word. And this is the thing. They always say, if God wanted it in there, they wouldn't have took it out. I said, when did God become a they? They and God is two different things. And then I take them right to the sibling oracles, and I show them where it said that the pastors was going to be on that stuff that they own, where they got the scandals and got to pay the money. It said all of that. It said that they was going to be sorcerers, and they was going to be lovers of themselves and lovers of little boys and all of these different things. And so then, of course, they took that out, because then we wouldn't be able to have no priest scandals. If they let that in there, we would know not to leave our kids with certain ministers or whatever else that it was. We would know that. But because they took that out, it's pre-scandals in every religion. Whether it be messing with all the women and giving them HIV, or having all these kids by these church women and all of this, whatever the scandal is, it's written in these lost books. But they say, oh, we ain't gonna use them. Yeah, because they tell us who you niggas is. It sure do. Run it right on down. And if you've been here for a while, you be like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, hold on. This just happened on TV. This is happening right now in the news. That's why they don't want y'all reading it. The Bible says the ruling spirit of this world is deception or deceit. The first ruler of darkness of this world is deceit. The 7 rulers of darkness, deceit is the first one, deception. And the Bible talks about even the very elect was going to be deceived. So, I'm seeing what he said come true. I love you too. Let me attach you bungee cord just in case you. Oh Lord, they over there talking crazy. They over here cutting up. You hear me? So I don't want to be deceived. And he talked about the very elect as well. So, folks want to just scream, I'm a Christian, but a lot of them ain't walking out their faith. So there's that. But I'm about to go. About to go play me some video games before I get too tired. If I can't go to sleep, I'll get back on here and talk to y'all. So, I love y'all. Say your prayers, newbies. Welcome to WOIU, where we go and find all the answers we can and ask God to reveal to us how it's relevant to our life right now. Yep, I charged up my controller, so let me see. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. Good night. Make sure y'all pray.